So then I realised it hit 12 o'clock and it was still saying there was 20 minutes. Then when I went to join, it took me over to the US site. So yeah, I don't know what was going on, but yeah, we're all good now.
All right, okay, no worries. I think it must have asked you to register because it obviously takes a bit of a quick attendance, the old style. So ask your first name, last name, and an email address, and
that's it. Yeah.
That would have been the case. So we look at covering course overview. I'll show you some systems. Obviously, Zoom, which is what you're using right now, you don't need any subscriptions. But apart from that, we'll be using something called Moodle. There's a Moodle app as well, just in case if you want to have it on your phone, the website. And then last but not the least, we'll also be looking at, bits and pieces in terms of, assessments and feedback in terms of when you do come to a stage wherein you are going to be able to submit assignments, how would the assessments and, feedback work. We'll discuss in terms of team and team members in terms so that who are the key members in the team that you can speak to. And then what we are also going to discuss briefly is a study plan, which will look at a combination of, online sessions, a bit of self-study, and, just to give you a steer in the direction of some sort of a plan that you can follow through so that you're making, continuous progress on the course.
Yeah, okay.
And then obviously lots of queries or questions if you have, I'll be happy to take that. And the reason is I want you to feel confident after this particular session so that you have full ins and out in terms of how the course is going to be run, who the people who are going to be, teaching and learning, how the assessments happen. And, if you get stuck in any place or, get stuck with anything and you have queries, who are the key people that you get in touch through what channels. And those will be the bits that we will look at covering, in our 30-35 minute discussion, depending on, how long it takes. But I want this session to be as detailed as possible so that you're able to, get a hang of, or at least get a gist of, pretty much everything in terms of how you're going to study this course.
Yeah, that's great.
Briefly, what I'll do is just to get to see you and see us. This is me.
One sec.
Good to see you as well. Keeping in mind.
I'll just start this 1 second. Here we go. I think one. Yeah, here we go. How you doing?
Good. I'm going to switch off the video after a while, keeping in mind the video file which it creates because of audio and video going together might bloat up to about 1 gigabyte. Just sometimes, I switch off the video when we are doing the actual process of teaching and learning.
That's fine, no problem.
But you'll get to meet all of us during the course of the session. We're based in Manchester, so obviously we work out of a place called Universal Square. Just opposite the ATHE Stadium. So we've got a very nice view outside the window. And there are about 6 of us in the team, which normally are more or less in the office or the college. We've got about 2,000 square feet space. And we are a test center for NCFE. We are obviously a accredited provider for a number of different courses with other organizations like Pearson, OTHM, IFA Direct for accounting, and then NCFE and cash. So we go and teach about, I would say, roughly about 2,000 students a year. And,
really? I did have a look into you beforehand. I mean, there were so many of these courses available. I would just had no idea what one to choose. There was like thousands of them, and I was going through Read, and I did have quite an in-depth look into you. Yes, I can see you. You're good.
So we've got about 150 different courses. We do not award anything from ourselves. It's all done through the awarding organizations, and they are all of course accredited, leading to university progression. We do some classroom-based courses as well, which is primarily at level 3, and it's mostly for students in Manchester. But obviously, because we are totally private and we have access to no funding, so I think the remit was to try and expand and offer a lot of different courses which can be done online.
Yeah.
Keep adding courses almost on a monthly, weekly, monthly basis. And these are all courses which are either in demand. So I think we're currently working on psychology, for example, the courses introduced by OTHM, and I think they will also lead to a BSc in psychology or criminology kind of a degree progression for learners doing so. In your case, you're doing the level 4 diploma with us, assuming at some stage you do a level 5. you will have the option to progress to a university to do a top-up, which will be a BA Honors Business Management degree, and that will be through the top-up route. If you decide after level 4 you want to go into and do a second year with the uni, so this first year would allow you to straight away get admission into a second year, and that could be done through student finance or distance learning with Open University, but only in that case the tuition fees is reimbursable by student finance.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, going to university isn't really an option for me. I don't really want to go. I will take the level 5. I'll get through this as long as everything goes well. I'll do the level 5, but it's more just for my own progression. You know, I don't want. I don't even need the certificates as such. It's just for my own businesses. I mean, I'm gonna continue to try and open businesses as time goes by, and it just helped me in the long run.
Oh, that's absolutely perfect. I think that is a synergy that we have with a lot of our learners. And that's why we don't use the word student, is because most of our learners are mature learners. They are, you know, obviously in some cases, 36, 37 is the average age. They are married, they have a job, they have a business, they have kids. Obviously, their main aim is to look at progressing in career and obviously getting a qualification which will help them move ahead rather than rubber stamping and, you know, having degrees and things like that. But yeah, I think we work with a lot of online providers and universities, and these options, should you decide in the future that you want to go through and look at, you know, topping it to a degree, then there will be options that we'll be able to provide, and that would be clearly available at affordable costs. And I think that's the motto that we have, is obviously delivering the same education as what universities do, but at 1/6 the cost. And now obviously allowing flexibility. And we've been going now for 9 years, so next year is going to be the 10th year for us. And you know, we are kind of, I would put it this way, you know, in the education business, it takes a lot of time for you to get established. But I think we are at a stage wherein we are one of the clear, you know, leaders in this field, because with COVID, obviously, we got a lot of impetus and a push because people did not accept online and distance learning. But, you know, COVID gave us a push.
Of course,
We've been doing sessions and, you know, teaching and learning from 2014 August, which has been online and, you know, obviously all recorded. So it was a boost for us, and, you know, a lot of experiences out of COVID, but I think for us, positives all across.
That's good.
Good stuff. So I'll share the website right now. And I think what I want to do is obviously take you through the bits in terms of what we have put across as a small agenda. So the most important thing that I think you will generally find is that the website is going to be the starting point of maybe, you know, you going to any platform or accessing any information from our side. It is something which I recommend that if you are going to use a laptop or a Mac, are you a Windows or a Mac user?
I've got a MacBook at the moment. I haven't actually gone onto the platform on my laptop yet. I've only been on my phone, but I'm going to do this after.
And then perfectly okay. The reason I say this is we are set up all on Macs on our side. So obviously, just to make sure that when you set up systems and when you have things on your side, all of them work on Windows and Macs, not a problem at all. But it's easier because I think it'll come naturally, because when I show things to you, if you use a Mac, and the interface and other bits would become quite naturally, you know, simple to understand. So looking at the website, basically this has, you know, pretty much everything that you would need to look at any given point in time if you get stuck, or, you know, obviously you need to go to various systems. On the top, as you can see, most of the shortcuts and the links have been created. This box that you see, admin at university, is a monitored mailbox. So there are 4 people which have access to it at any given point in time. If you get stuck, if you send a one-liner email, or, you know, even with a subject to say, this is a problem or I need this, then, you know, you'll get a response back in 5 to 7 minutes.
Really perfect.
That's as quick as that. The other bit is obviously there is this number, which is on WhatsApp. If you need to WhatsApp us urgently for anything, and that could be, you know, done through that. This is also a college suite number, which is the college mobile, and obviously an out of hours number as well. So if you need to reach us in the odd hours, you can ring this up after 5:30 to, you know, 8:39, and somebody will pick up the phone. In most cases, it'll be me, but yeah, you know, sometimes it'll be a colleague of mine who will pick up the phone, who's probably doing, you know, a night shift in terms of managing some of the learners for us in Far East or in Americas as they come online. The link to our management system, we use Moodle, so we call it Moodle itself. There's a shortcut available here. So obviously, if you are clicking on this particular, link, press the control tab, it'll open up in a new window, and that should allow you to access Moodle. There are lots of sessions that we broadcast and put it on YouTube. So if you need to go to our YouTube channel, just click on the YouTube channel and it'll open up separately as a link onto the new tab. Now, what I would do is, if I'm in your place, I normally recommend learners to bookmark the website, the Moodle and the YouTube onto their bookmark bar. So if you click on the lock, drag it to the bookmark bar, it should bring straight away them in a clickable option to you, because there are going to be shortcuts created on your home screen. So if I look at a new tab and I click on this, it'll open up the website. If I open up another tab, click on Moodle, should open up Moodle straight away on a one-click option. And if I go to YouTube, another tab, these are easily accessible.
Yeah, I did actually download the Moodle app on my phone. When I actually went on there, I think I need to get like a code or something off of you to open it.
I'll explain that briefly. So for example, when you're on the Moodle stuff, there are lots of third-party apps on Moodle. So essentially what you're looking at downloading is the actual Moodle app, which is developed by the company Moodle itself. And it looks like this.
Yeah.
Now, once you have downloaded this particular app, there are two things that you are going to require to be able to set up Moodle, because there are lots of Moodles, and I think 25,000 universities or institutions use this platform globally.
Oh, really?
So what I'll ask you to do is give it the site address where Moodle is installed. And that is where you will need to pin down this particular address, which is the website address, for it to recognize that you're trying to log into UK Versity's Moodle. So it's a usual web address, and I'll text it to you now.
Okay, yeah, and I'll just do it right now. Just your site. Yeah, that's it.
So basically, it is the site that you need, which is Lima Mike Sierra, which is LMS.
Oh, it's the same. It's the same as basically online, right? So I'll just put that.
Correct,
That's it. lms.ukversity.co.uk. Right.
And then you type your username, which is always in lowercase, and then the password that you've got, which is case sensitive. Initially, we give you a password, but you can reset that to your liking, and that should allow you to log into the system. Now, when you're in, obviously on the mobile phone, the advantage is we have these push notifications which are enabled on the mobile phone. If you see that, so for example, on the bottom of the screen, what tends to happen is these push notifications.
Is this on the Moodle app? Sorry.
This is on the Moodle app, yeah.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Let me just sign into it. Yeah, 1 second. Sorry. Right, hang on. Explore your personal area. So I'm getting loads of emails. Yeah, right. I'm on the main page now, which is talking about UK Versity. It's got a little write-up about it.
And on the top, you will see another tab. So there are two tabs on the top. One is the dashboard, the other is the course. And when you click on that, it should start showing the course unit-wise, because obviously of the screen space, the screen size. So the mobile is the fourth screen, as we know, cinema screens, television screens, and you have the laptops, and then your mobile. So it's a small version. So obviously you'll get all the information without any compromise, but I think it is going to be laid out in a way wherein it suits your screen and is responsive, but it is available in bite-sized chunks, unit-wise, that you are going to be able to access. And
perfect.
The other bits, obviously, in terms of the advantage of having this on your phone is that whenever you're out and about, and if you're away on a holiday or you have access to the internet, you still have the course with you. Not that you want to take it with you, but you have the access.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a great help, because to be honest, I mean, I live up in Kent, but obviously all my business is in London. So I get up, I drive to London. I don't really take my laptop with me at all, to be honest. So it's always good. I can stop for an hour, 2 hours down there. How many hours a day would you say the average student would study this course?
See, the way we would look at this, I'm not going to talk about the cliched approach, because over the years we have formalized our own approach. The way that we look at, if I log into the system for a second to answer that question, what I would suggest is that you need to be at some stage starting to listen into some of the lectures of the units. And these lectures tend to be about 45 minutes to an hour long. Now, if you listen into a lecture, for example, if I go into the first unit, which is the business environment, And if I look at just the units are organized into what are called learning outcomes.
Yep.
So open the first unit up. That is how the things are also organized as far as the contents on the system are concerned. So if you see, what we do is we don't teach the unit in one go. The unit is taught in terms of learning outcomes. On the left-hand side, you'll have learning outcomes. So in this unit, as you can see, there are 4. And there are 5 lectures to cover this unit. 4 lectures will cover each of the learning outcomes and all the assessment criteria. And the last lecture is going to be an assignment discussion session. So the way I see it is, if you start studying a unit, and to answer your question, if you start studying, for example, business environment, you should be looking at probably studying this unit for about anywhere between 7 to 10 hours. The reason I put it this way is that you're going to be listening into a lecture for learning outcome 1, and that would be another, maybe an hour. And after the listening into the lecture, because these lectures are audio visual in nature, so you might not need to go through the presentation. But yes, if you do decide that some of the bits I've gone through the lecture, I understand, but I want to look at the presentation right now. So if you spend another half an hour to go through some of the slides, which are going to be quite worded, you will probably be looking at spending anywhere between, I would say, 2 to 3 hours a week.
Okay. How long? So that first module, the external environment, how long does it normally take the average student to get through that module?
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks just on that module. See, I mean, I'm reading it, I'm thinking, wow, this is crazy. It's really in depth. It's a long, and I'm thinking, right, how I'm trying to get through it as quickly as possible, but I'm just trying to take in the information at the same time. I don't want to skip through it and then at the end of it, I'm come to an assessment. This is what I was going to say to you. Now, so I've come to basically the end of the external environment where it asks you, I think it's right, who could have benefited from 9/11? It's some question like that was at the end. Now, there isn't anywhere to actually answer the question on there.
Well, in terms of the assignment brief, if I open that up, because there are no exams, so what will happen is, in this case, for example, the business environment assignments that you look at from ATHE, they'll all give you a bit of a scenario to assume. So in this case, the scenario is primarily you're working with the CB, configuration of British industry. And with that option in mind that you've been asked to do a number of tasks, they will essentially be divided into what are called tasks and activities. Now, these tasks and activities will also ask you to produce a certain kind of output, because the idea here is not to ask you to write tons and tons or pages and pages of information as essays. Sometimes it will be broken down into creating a presentation with a bit of speaker notes, 10 to 15 slides, and that'll cover all the tasks. And in some cases, it will ask you to write an academic piece of work, which is like an essay or on a Word document. Now, my suggestion in this case to answer your question would be, because you're a mature learner and you have practical experience of what is required to be understood in the task, in the assignment, what I would suggest is to go through the unit content first briefly, just lean through it, skim through it, whichever way you like it, and go through it to see what all is covered in the content. Now, one way of doing that is primarily looking at the unit specification document, which is the first document extracted from the course handbook.
I didn't really read this part, to be honest. I was more trying to get to the learning. I could see this was more setting out how the course was going to be, how it was placed, so I just literally actually left it. But I will go through it.
So I'll give you a bit of a best practice here in terms of what could be the way going forward, is to look at the unit specification of the unit. Now, basically, this bit is a grid, which you will go through in any case on the slides. The indicative content, which is given in the further pages, like pages 2 and 3 after the grid, is the bits that is going to give you an idea that whether you know the topics, whether you know the key terms and terminology within this unit or not. Now, if I were to go through in terms of types of organizations, we all understand what is a private organization, a public organization, a charity, voluntary or a co-op kind of an organization. Now, if you have good knowledge about this, then you know how they are set up, why they are different, things like that. Yeah, and then look at purposes, look at responsibilities. And because you're running a business yourself, you would be looking at, maybe a limited company, private, fully ownership. You are obviously the director, and you also take major decisions on being the main stakeholder in the organization, take major decisions, finance, marketing, HR, and all that. Now, this content is something that you will see which is covered in the slides. So I'm not going to be teaching, or my tutors are not going to be teaching you something just out of the books. We are going to be narrowing it down to what the awarding organization is asking you to study in each of the learning outcomes to get the knowledge. So the work and the content that you're going to find is going to be slightly directive. That means, unlike universities, you're going to find that, okay, if we teach in economics, we'll teach you business environment, internal, external, we'll go into lots of different things. But here, we'll boil it down, or basically go down, narrow it down to basically what is being asked to be studied.
Okay.
Now, what you're going to see is there are 4 learning outcomes. There is a bit of indicative content which is given in all of the learning outcomes, and that is what is being touched upon in the presentations. Now, if you go through the presentations by just skimming through them and reading it through very quickly, you will get a very good idea in terms of what is required in this unit and what knowledge is required to be gained from studying this unit.
Yeah.
Once you've done that, my suggestion would be to try and attempt the first task in the assignment. Because this is a process that you're going to do with us every time you're going to study a particular unit, the first unit and the first task that you do, I would suggest you do it, and in whichever shape or form that you feel convenient you want to do it, you do it and you send it over to us for checking and feedback. What we are going to then do is give you some feedback in terms of, as a process, what are the things you're doing correct, what are the things that you're not doing so correct, and this is where you need to correct some of the things as per requirements of the course. And that would then become a basic guidance structure for you to follow through in all the assignments going forward.
Perfect. Yeah.
You would find it to be a bit critical in the first aspect, because what we want to do is get you the basics, that these are essentials. These are essentials, but can be contextualized in the way that you want to do so. And these are bits which are, even if you cover, not cover, might not matter that much, but they would have to be somewhere in the ballpark for you to achieve the unit.
That's fine. Perfect.
Now, the other bit that you, so that answers maybe one of your question in terms of how many hours. Now, so the reason I don't say any number of hours is because the whole idea you're doing this course is flexibility. Now, you might put 1 hour a day, but generally speaking, we will go by the number of hours required to complete one unit. And because we do complete one unit in 4 to 6 weeks, so that will mean 4 to 6 hours of lecture time. And the other 3 to 4 hours that you'll spend is actually writing the assignment. So I would say 7 to 10 hours would be good enough if you spend that much of time per unit. So technically speaking, you should be able to complete this course. If I just literally put it, you have 8 units to go, and if you put 10 hours per unit, probably about 80 concentrated hours should get you through the course. But because you have practically, lots of engagements, life, business, job, family, kids, whatever it is.
Yeah, of course.
This 80 hours will actually go across a number of weeks and months.
Yeah, of course.
Put half an hour today by listening into the lecture, but you weren't able to complete because a meeting came up. So you looked at it the other day, and then you had to recap to cover all that stuff. That is where the number of hours will start racking up.
Yeah.
The other flip side of this, which we, as an approach, we ask you to do is you study these lectures with us, twice a week. You take 2 lectures with us, which is covering 1 learning outcome, and the second lecture covers second learning outcome. So in 2 weeks' time, the unit delivery is over. That means we've gone through the 4 learning outcomes of the unit, and then we do the assignment discussion. So if you follow that approach with us, whenever we do these live tutorials, like I'm doing one with you right now with Zoom, they will allow you to go through the unit in about 2 to 3 weeks with us, the entire content, because the discussion will be like what we're having today. It'll be interactive. You're able to ask questions. You're able to, discuss any queries or doubts in the slides, in the content which is there. And then we'll also tell you exactly what.
How often are these discussions? Sorry.
These discussions typically tend to be 45 minutes long. We'll send you an hour-long slot for the tutorials, and they can be done Monday to Sunday. Not a problem.
Perfect.
So we can fix and schedule them to meet your time frame so that you are able to attend these sessions, because they're being done for you. We've got lots of recordings of sessions. We don't want to be talking to the computer, but if you're joining, then these sessions would make sense because you'll go through them and it'll be interactive.
Perfect. Yeah, great.
Now, what we've also done is, with the contents that we've provided, we know that some of the tasks require activities to be done. That means they will have descriptors like be able to. you should be able to do them. And the idea of those sheets and handouts that we provided, just in case, like one, which is for learning outcome 1, is a handout which you'll need to complete. This is a sampler which has been filled because it talks about the different types of organizations. This will be available as a Word document. And what you'll do is you'll write the sole trader, partnership, private limited company, and then fill this up, and that will become a part and parcel of your assignment. So you're doing the activity, but that's also adding up to doing your assignment for the unit as well. So you're not duplicating the work, but in a way shortening the work, because when we go along and discuss some of these activities in some units and in some of the learning outcomes, we'll ask you to do these activities as we go along, which will become a part and parcel of your assignment.
Yeah.
So you have to go back and revisit them again to do the tasks.
Yeah. Okay.
So if we look at the layout in terms of how the system is organized, this bit is what we are going through today, just to get ourselves a bit familiar with in terms of the course overview and basic requirements. So handbook, things like Harvard referencing, command verbs. I'll go through this in terms of how the assessment feedback thing works. And then what we are also looking at some stage is also giving to understand that how is the learning material organized on the platform. So you see in all places, there are 4 kinds of documents: PDF documents, which are version controlled, you have Microsoft Office documents, and you have documents which open to the cloud or the YouTube channel because they are recordings. And YouTube being a free space where we can park some of the recordings. So what we've done is we uploaded them there so that if you need to access the lectures, the system is light and the recordings are coming from the YouTube channel. So in every unit, the same structure and layout would essentially entail. So if I just take you to another unit like people in organization, again, it'll start with the unit specification, then have the assignment brief, then there'll be a book integrated, which is a recommended book for you to study that particular unit. It's a regular textbook. So it's 800 pages in this case, and you'll be required to study. If you need to do your assignment, we'll tell you what chapters or parts of the books or pages specifically you need to be able to study, because you'll be able to pick out examples from there. You'll be able to look at case studies or application-driven bits that you can include in your assignment. So rather than copy and paste from Google, the idea would be you have books and articles and journals available for every unit. Now, after that, the layout will continue. Learning outcome 1, recording, some handouts if there are specifics for that, because sometimes it's difficult to cover everything in the presentation. So additional reading is provided through handouts. So in this case, when we look at organizational structures, there are different types of organizational structures. We have provided a bit of a handout, and this handout, is a summarized version of maybe 20 pages that you would want essentially sometimes to understand what the layouts like matrix, hierarchical, flat structure, functional structure, divisional structure, and there are examples of it in the handout. So this layout would continue, and towards the end, what will happen is you would see an assignment discussion session, which is a session in which we tell you how to do the assignment brief, how to create the evidence. So what we do is change the Word document into a PowerPoint presentation, and then give you tips to be able to explain how to go about, actually submitting the assignment and creating the assignment so that it's easier for you to write by referring to some of our slides, some of the handouts that we've given. So there are pointers or signposting done in the presentation to clearly say how to write a report, what sections of the report are there, how to address each of the sections, what sections can you look at when you go back into our slides. So a bit directive, bit like, I would not use the word spoon feeding, but a bit directive to say, okay, this is where you go and look for this task and you'll find this slide and this is what you need to do. So those bits are bits that you're going to be seeing in the assignment discussion session, which is there normally for all the units after the learning outcomes have been completed. Now, in some places, you would find delivery of different sessions which have happened because the content of the course has changed. So we have updated the course sections, and you normally see these labels which will be there. In some places like September, we've hidden it now because it's not useful. There was a bit of a change which happened in the qualification. So these updated versions are the ones that you would require to be going through. And it would be then available for all the units that you go through in terms of the process of teaching and learning. Now, if I just very briefly switch you back to the kind of a bit of a whiteboard that we created for the agenda, I would want to also let you know who are the key people who will be teaching some of the units.
Okay.
Simply because, in most cases, you won't probably get the teaching and learning being done by one particular tutor. So if I look at the 8 units that you're going to study, let me open one particular handout, which is going to be useful, and then we'll refer to that again and again.
Yeah.
Now, in your qualification, there is something called mandatory units, and there is also something called optional units. Now, if I show this to you now, just to briefly bring it to your attention, this particular handout that you see, what will happen in this handout is a summary handout. So these are mandatory units which you have to study in any case, the first 4. Business environment, people in organization, which is basically HR, finance and management accounting is basically finance and accounting, and communication skills is communication skills. Now, in the optional units, over the years, we have different learners choosing different units depending on their requirements. So what will happen is I will email this document to you as a notepad with the name of the units. And what I would suggest is you pick the 8 units that you want to do. So the 4 are mandatory, but the other 4 that you want to study, you pick them up. And what I will then do is ask Andy or Victor to reorganize the Moodle for you so that the units that you're studying are the ones which are going to be reflecting in Moodle.
Okay.
So 8 units that you get to see that we are going to go through one by one. Now, some of these units, like the business environment, is done and taught by either me or Mr. Zafar Iqbal. People in organization is done by Shazia. Finance is done by Anjum. Communication skills is done by Shazia. Now, if I look at marketing mix, it'll be Zafar Iqbal or Anjum. Corporate social responsibility, either Anjum or Zafar Iqbal. Managing a work-based team project, either myself or Sanjay. Entrepreneurship, myself or Anjum. And then if you choose other units like administrative services, CRM, managing knowledge, there are different tutors which will teach these different units. So you'll have different delivery from different tutors, and they are specialists in those units because they've been teaching those units for 10 to 15 years at the college, FE college or a university, and they have the knowledge in detail for some of these units. So cool. I will send you a list of these units as say, for example, an email just after the session. And allow you to pick and choose the units that you want.
That's fine.
You will configure the system in a way that these are all available to you. So just looking at level 4 for now, and these are the units. And along with that, I'll put some others as well here. And then you can choose the 8 that you want, delete the others. The mandatories are mandatory, and the options is what you can choose.
Okay, cool.
Now, last but not the least, what I want to do is very briefly show you a process wherein, you understand how the assessments are going to happen, when you submit assignments. Okay. Now, you don't need to worry about, the reason I say this is for every unit, it's back to school for some of us, and there is no shying away and, no reasons for us to understand that, can I look at the assignment or shy away from asking how an assignment looks like. For every unit, there'll be one document which will always be there, which will always end with the word sample.
Okay.
If I highlight this for you now, in the communication skills unit, this is a document which says sample. Now, this is a sample assignment which we have provided for you to look at how somebody would have submitted for this unit to achieve at least a pass grade.
Okay.
Qualification is all graded. You can achieve a pass, merit, and distinction. But this is the example of how an assignment looks like, how it has been compiled by the learner, and a learner would have at least had a minimum pass grade on this assignment. So this, for reference purposes, for you
it's
to
on every unit, is it?
Per unit, yeah. There's one assignment per unit, so you're completing 8 in total, and these are provided to you just for reference and as a sampler purpose for you to see, okay, how an assignment is to be submitted. So in this case, as you can see, most of the assignment is a Word document, which is about 3,500 words, I think. And it covers all the tasks which the learner has been asked to do in the assignment brief.
Yeah.
So for every unit, there will be a sampler available.
And what way it should look like,
Yeah, that will give you an idea in terms of how the assignments have to be done with regards to any of the units. Now, one thing in terms of how the feedback and, for example, process in terms of when you submit the assignment, where do you submit, and how does the process of feedback actually work? Because it's a consultative approach. There is no right and wrong. Everybody is going to pass, but at the end of the day, sometimes it might require a bit of an iteration to be done. And that iteration might essentially mean that you might have to redo some parts of the work or elaborate some part of the work. Now, submission of assignments is generally done to a mailbox which is monitored. So you get an acknowledgement receipt. It can't be that the assignment goes missing or the email that you've sent has gone missing. That would never happen. So every time you send an email, you will get an acknowledgement which will say your assignment has been received, and you'll get a feedback within 4 to 5 working days. Now, if you submit it on this email, normal submission formats are Microsoft Word, or Word if you use Google Documents, or PowerPoint presentations, essentially.
Okay.
Can't submit a document to us in PDF because we can't scan it for plagiarism, or we can't look at making annotated remarks. And then obviously, because the assignments are working documents, so if I give you any feedback and you make some changes to it, you will highlight them in yellow, and then you'll resubmit or resend that document back by adding comments to it. And that would be meeting the criteria, and that document at the end of the day will become a final document to say, okay, this is the final version, and that's to be graded. And that helps us also document ongoing feedback, which is formative, and the summative feedback, which tends to be given when the assignment has been finally graded and signed off by us for certification. So I'll show you one quick example of that and how you would generally see that happening at your end when you start to make submissions. Just getting ahead of ourselves, but here it is only a glimpse for you to look into and understand how the feedback process essentially works. It is nothing to do with for you to worry about right now. It's just to give you a glimpse in terms of how things would essentially, work. So let me open up just one document as an example. For you to quickly have a look, and then that would be the bit that we will take from there.
Okay.
Your MacBook, are you on a MacBook right now, isn't it?
I'm on a MacBook right now. Not that I really use it too much, to be honest with you.
That's fine. The reason I'm asking is I want to know, obviously, the screen size. So you're not on a mobile phone, so the screen size should be okay.
Screen size,
a couple of documents,
that's fine.
I've got a big monitor, normally because I'm a teacher, I've got a 49-inch gaming monitor. So if I show you my full screen, I can open 6 documents in one full screen. So it'll be easier for me to quickly show this to you rather than switch between windows and different documents. Now, just an example, this is an assignment which has been submitted by one of the learners, people management, which is one of the units you will study. This is the original document that the learner has submitted.
I can't really see.
It's just to visually look at it. It's an assignment, not going into details, just to show you some visual components of it. Now, when you submit the assignment, at some stage, what will happen is we'll also mark your assignment.
Okay.
Mark your assignment. The marking of the assignment is done in annotations on the document itself. And if I just show you that just for one brief reason to make it easier. So this is an assignment which the learner has also submitted. And what we've done is we have made some comments, as you can see, on the assignments by putting annotations to say whether you met the criteria, not met the criteria. And these comments tend to be, in some cases, quite detailed. If we do find that the task is attempted, but the work is a bit scant or you need to elaborate, then there will be feedback which will be given here. And this is commenting that you will get to see when you open this document on a Mac or a laptop or a PC, but you won't get to see on a tablet or a phone. Simply because it will only be visible as a speech bubble, but the screen size is small, so it won't show you the full version of what has been written on the speech bubble. So this is the way when you submit the assignment to us at LearnerWork, what will happen is the tutor who's taught that unit will actually mark that assignment and then send it back to you to say this assignment has been passed, or this assignment you met this particular grade. Now, if I show you, this is one version which is for your records that you've got the assignment and you've submitted. Now, how does it look to you on the summative feedback? How do you get that summative feedback from us? So the summative feedback comes to you in this format, which is an awarding body sheet which is let's put it this way, which is a proof of the achievement that you've done. And that proof of achievement is basically sent to you like this.
Okay.
Right. This is like a summary sheet, which basically says your name, your registration number, when you submitted the assignment, why have you achieved these tasks, and what is the grade that you've got in the unit.
Okay.
This is then signed off by the relevant tutor. It's signed off by the quality manager. And this is something which is your proof that you've completed this unit. And this is exactly how it'll be shown to the awarding body. And the awarding body will agree to this grade and then award this grade to you. And you know that this unit is now completely finished, signed off. I can move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Right. So when you complete a particular unit, you're expected to have these two documents back from us. One which has the annotated remarks, and the second which is this front cover of the assessment sheet as a record, that as a proof that you keep at your end to say I've finished and I've passed this particular unit.
Yeah.
Okay. So this process of feedback continues between the tutor and yourself till we get to this stage wherein the sheet is signed off, and obviously you've been given a grade, pass, merit, or distinction.
Yeah. Cool.
Is that okay? Now, in most cases, there is generally only one iteration that sometimes you are asked to submit, because what we would do is give you detailed feedback in the first instance to ensure that the second time you resubmit, if you have to resubmit the work, then it 100% meets the criteria and you are able to complete and achieve that unit.
Yeah.
My team personally don't like that bit, like the university system, where we fail the assignment, then say, no, you need to go and revisit this, look at that. No, nothing of that sort. We'll tell you exactly where you've missed, what you've missed, what you need to input, and that should get you over the finishing line for that unit.
Cool.
It will never have more than one iteration. If it has, or if it goes beyond one or two iterations, then there are two problems that the quality manager will pick up. One, the tutor is in a different world altogether, and the learner is in a different world, and both of them are not, on the same plane as far as understanding the thoughts and concepts are concerned. Or the teaching that we are doing is going over the head, is maybe too detailed. So the idea would be somebody will intervene, and obviously, that would clearly be a case wherein we know that if this is happening, then we will address that. But generally, one odd iteration sometimes is required, not in all the cases, because our delivery to you would be quite thorough. And the idea would be we'll explain everything so that once you get it, you're able to follow it through as a process for all the assignments.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, in terms of briefly, very, very briefly, the team, in terms of people that you would expect to get in touch on more or less a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, because you're doing the course. So if I look at tutors, if you have to write to anybody in UK Versity, it is very simple. It is the first name followed by ukversity.co.uk. So if you have to write to me, it will be Raman. If you have to write to Zafar, it'll be Zafar at UK Versity. If you write to Anjum, Sanjay, Reena, anybody that you need to write to, it'll just be the first name at UK Versity.
Yeah.
Now, tutors wise, we are a team of 13 in total, and we teach pretty much all the subjects across all the courses. But we are a specialist in some areas. So I'll teach maybe one or two. Zafar will teach some. Yasir will teach some. Anjay will teach some. We have one of the persons who sits outside us, and he doesn't do any teaching. He's the fresh pair of eyes who looks at standards and qualities and feedbacks, and he's Philip. So he's Phil. So he would essentially be quality, looking through the quality and assessment and feedback processes to ensure that, the grading is fair and the assessments are fair. So he's a colleague of mine who's been with me for 8 years, and most of the others, if I look at Anjum 6.5 years, Sanjay 5 years, Reena 3 years, Yasir about 1 year, Sanjay, I've written again, sorry. And then some of them who are basically teaching, you might not see them because of the fact that they might not be units that you would be essential. Yeah. But in business, you'll essentially see, I would say, 4 tutors. Now, in the admin team or administration team, there are 2 people that you will probably be in touch with more often than others, and they would be Jill and Harjinder. There would be occasional touches with Amrita because she's the registrar. She looks after your assessment, coordination with tutors, your registration, your certification part of it. So she's the examination officer or registrar. Harjinder and Jill primarily the course coordinator. So she is going to be aligning all the sessions depending on, what sessions and days you can attend in terms of Zoom invites and, other bits and pieces that would be required. So they would be coordination done by Jill, essentially.
Yeah.
Jinder, primarily for if you can't find a particular document, or if you are wanting a copy of the recording of a particular session, he's the one that no worries.
Got a job up and the phone.
No, that's fine. And so I'm more or less almost done.
No, it's fine. No, it's just applicants. I've got a chef job on Indeed and Gumtree, and it's just ringing like constantly all day.
I have a colleague of mine called Andy in IT and Victor in IT. So if anything related to Moodle or any book, or for example, any topic or anything that you can't find, you're to write to admin essentially. So that's a monitored mailbox. But if you need to write to Victor, it'll be Victor, and Andy is generally, through admin.
Perfect. Yep.
So they will essentially be the key bits in terms of the team. We're going to add you to the WhatsApp group, which is going to be ATHE Level 4 Diploma in Business Management. There are learners which keep there are people who are going to be added, and there are going to be people who are going to be taken off because they're completing the course, or, they're joining the course. So we only have this for strict announcements, not for, jokes and other bits that
that's fine. Yeah,
now. So, and I think phone wise, if you save this number, which is our college switchboard, and the other number, which is basically
the one you normally call me off, correct?
Sorry,
that's the number you normally call me off, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, 0161.
I've got it saved.
Yeah, so got this saved. That should be us calling you whenever we need to get in touch. But apart from that, I think I've covered pretty much everything in terms of what we would expect you to know before you start the course with us, so that you're clear in terms of who are the people. And then one last bit which I want to discuss with you, just to get some idea. So for example, if I look at you having to do some live sessions with us, if you prefer, what could be the ideal days or timings that we could give to course coordinators so that they at least have an idea?
Could I get back to you on it? I mean, I haven't gone through. I'm gonna schedule my days of study, so because I'm busy constantly. So I mean, if I can, I'm gonna try and set days to study rather than like hour blocks insert every day. So it's just I've got the whole day. So I will get back to you by tomorrow. I'm just gonna work out with my business partner, because I've got two separate people that I work with, and so I've got to just work out my days if possible.
That's perfectly okay. So I'll drop you this units email and also the steer in this direction of at least letting us know for the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, the kind of days that you will be available, or times which are suitable to you. And what you can do is obviously plan some sessions. And if you decide that you're going to go through the route of self-study, then we can also do longer tutorials with you, which could be an hour and a half long, and they cover the whole unit in terms of summary. So we go through the whole unit in that, and then you start attempting the assignments or the tasks in the assignments.
No problem. Yeah, that's great.
So, any other queries or questions that you have at your end that you can think of for now?
Not at the moment. No, I think we're all good.
Good stuff. So I know I've covered lots to go through. So I'll let you go, and I'll send you a copy of this recording just after a couple of minutes once it's available. And then we'll hopefully be catching up with you on phone/emails in the coming days.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you, Roman. I appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye. Bye for now.